Hello everyone, this is Blender Guppy. In this video, I'm going to use Random Flow and the Panel Cutter add-on to model a simple sci-fi vehicle you can use for your concept art renders. Okay, going to just model the base mesh first. Mirror this in the x-axis. Oops. Um, Reorient this in the y-axis. Y-axis is the front, x is the side, and z is the top and down. Okay. Auto mirror to x-axis, and I'm going to inset maybe this way and create the front of the truck. Some of the features that will be shown in this video may not be available in the store during the release of this video, so just watch out for that. But the stores will eventually be updated with um, the versions you see in this video. I'm just testing it out and see what it does in practical uses. Okay, I'm going to add the wheels and just draw it here. Draw them here and set the start of the thickness on this face here. So I'm going to use Alt 1, 2, or 3. So Alt 1 and just okay. So see, it probably won't topple like that because let's create some fake weights at the back to support to prevent to equalize the weight on the back and the front. I'm going to delete the middle faces created during the inset. Okay. So making sure everything is quad, um, because the subdivision in the random operators works with quads and tries only. It doesn't work with incomes. Okay, applying this if they become real mesh, and then establishing the bear in the x-axis and selecting these faces here. Bring them back like that and inset and then extrude in the middle and XF to delete the faces in the middle. So this will not be your we're just creating a representation of a vehicle that will okay, I'm going to draw the line using draw cut and press 1 for cube, press T to cut through. I can select this. So this vehicle this is for concept art and will be just a representation of a vehicle. We're not actually trying to base it off some uh, we're not trying to make every part have a practical or model it um wow, using a practical reference. Okay, that's the wheels. These are the wheels, and these are our body, and probably add something like this. We probably won't use the randomization on the wheels just to keep things lighter on this side here. So we can actually, it's up to you to use random panels for this. Clip center to get rid of this center line. I'll use radial and then non-even and set this to set the height, max height to something like that, and then randomize the seed, and you can see it's already giving you something that looks like a truck from this distance or that distance. Okay, so you can use the workflow you see here to create your own army of this vehicles, and then I'll show you how to reduce the topology of the resolution afterwards. Okay, so but for this I'm just going to use plate insets. This is destructive. Random panels is non-destructive, and you can also set it to become destructive by using merge panel or bevel. Bevel will be in the next update. Okay, let's use selecting every face on the mesh. I'm going to use plate and sets. Increase the subdivision. So increasing the subdivision means that the algorithm or the script will have more faces to play with, and the details or the plate and sets become smaller and have more detail. Okay, I'm just going to fix the thickness and the depth. Set the plates to 1000 and use fill for adjacent faces. And let's fix the offset and the thickness. Let's see, the depth and the thickness. There we go. I'm also going to this part here. This can be its thickness can be affected using the margin type, and this will increase all the margins between the uh, plate islands or between these rectangle details. But you can set it to only affect this part here, which are basically indented into the mesh. So indent only, and you can see that the effect disappears right here. And if we set it to something like, actually let's set the reverse to 25. Set it to all versus this part here. Set it to all versus indent only. It means that it will only affect the margins of the plate end sets that are pushing or extruded into the mesh, much this area here, for example, like that. And everything means that even the plate insets that are extruded outward will be affected. So let's just use indent only. And then I'm going to get rid of the center line by clipping, increasing the distance of the clip center. Okay, let's play around with the plating seed. And you can see that the center line uh, still affected by the border of the plate inset detail. We can get rid of this using by turning off the use mirror toggle. There'd still be a chance of the splits happening in the center of the symmetry line, but its occurrences are greatly reduced. Now we're going to just look for something that actually looks like a truck or something that has a really good design. Remember that you can increase the sizes of there you see, the sizes of the plate and sit islands or these rectangular details using uh, or their number by increasing the subdivision. Their sizes are affected by this. One means just one face, and two means just increasing the number of those plate insets outward. So a single face will the size will be increased using the adjacent faces around that face. So yeah. So maximum of two and a minimum of two and a maximum of five. And once if we decrease the maximum number, you can see that the plates plate islands become smaller and they become more populated, and the details become more populated, as you can see here. So increasing the maximum increases the size of the plate inset islands. Let's just use two, minimum of two and maximum of five. And let's play around with the plate seed some more. Something that will look awesome at that distance. So points, no, not this one. Let's use some variability in the height. The height is also the depth, but this is depth plus height, and the height can be randomized. So it's like this. Depth is uniform plus the height, which can be randomized, okay? You can actually set this to 0 and just have maximum value. So for example, like that, and just have a number in the height property. So what's the 0.01? Okay, 0.04, and then we can play around with the seed value like that. Okay, back to the plating seed. I'm just looking for something that looks good to me. Okay, this actually, yeah, this looks good. Okay, now from here on, we can use, I'm going to use plate panel cutter to add some more detail. And just, of course, I'm also going to use just the vanilla tools in Blender. Like for example here, I'm going to add a window. So I'm going to repeat the something that I've mentioned in the past video. If you're going to put some detail like this, for example, in this area here, don't just extrude it like that. So you see it's gonna be flat. So in order for the detail to be more obvious to the eye, and even if you want to bake it, you can just use inset and give it a little margin, and then you can yeah, but you during inset you can pressing I, then dragging the mouse to increase the margin, and then pressing control and then drag the mouse to uh offset the faces, and like that. You can also just inset, then if you forget to offset the faces during this operation and then confirm it, you can just use Alt S, that's shrink and fatten, Alt S to offset the faces afterwards, just in case you forget it during the um, inset operation, just like that. I can also just, I want to, yeah, reposition it here. So I'm going to use Final Cut and Bevel. Also cut symmetry, so it will cut on the symmetry line and create detail like a detail like that. Okay, so I figured that the drivers are probably seeing the front of the vehicle using just cameras, because the environment they're using the vehicle on is probably too toxic, and there's using windows might be too dangerous. There we go. Reposition it, make it shorter. Look at bevel. Okay. So topology, design first before topology. So repairing this, repairing the ingons or the tries that you cause if you're into whole quads will be much easier if you just focus on design first before topology instead of repairing it as you go. Okay, that's our door. Or you can just bake the details that you modeled by saving the base mesh before you start detailing, then using that base mesh to bake the details that you did to the lower poly base mesh. Increase the size and let's bring it like that to create that detail or that kind of detail. Let's see the underside. Okay, let's try and cut this. Cool. Nice. Maybe I could just increase the subdivision. And but since this is for just for concept art, we don't need to bake or anything. So we are free to do anything we want with the topology. Oh, I should make it smaller. So I finally did the bevel type. You can also we you can also use it in random panels using this one here because somebody messaged me or emailed me about panel cutter, and he thought that using the add-on was just straight up selecting the edge and then using the operator. But of course, uh, the default algorithm, what is the NC type, you need to mark sharp the edges and then select the faces that includes those marked sharp edges, then use panel cut and then use the offset. Then you generate the panel cut detail. But with the inclusion of the bevel type in the next update, you can just select the edges, then use bevel type like that. The edges as you select don't doesn't even have to be contiguous or contiguous. Can even be just like that. For the inset type, this needs to be contiguous, of course. And if you use this on this type of topology with this uh edge here, marked sharp edge here in the ending abruptly without touching the end of the selection or another edge that is marked sharp, you can see the result. And I'll cut inset. There you go. Clear sharp. Okay. Um, let's put in some more detail. Actually, this might be a bit too much. Okay, so let me show you how to repair this. So you don't have to be, there you go. And XF, selecting this, okay. Selecting non-manifold. It also selected the center line, so we need to deselect that. Control, drag, and then you selecting the, and with these edges, the only one selected, okay. There's another one here. Press F to close it, and going to get rid of this vertices here. Doesn't connect to anything. And then use quad slice tangent. There you go. I'm just going to probably just use the original topology. There you go. It's much lighter, but the detail still looks the same. Pressing T to set cut through to on, and then inset and drawing another detail here. So I've had requests that to change the drawing to grid, much like um, the rest of the other add-ons uses grid drawing to snap the points, the draw points uh, to the points in the grid. But that if I change it to that, then all of us will be using the grid draw system. Okay, so um, I'm staying with the view-based drawing for now because I think this is much faster than um, than dealing with the grids. And besides, it's part of its identity. It's been like that since Creative Flow is just ice tools and Cuber. So it's always been a view-based drawing. I've tried the grid system, and it will be a complete overhaul of this operator. But you know, you set the grid, you set the resolution of the grid, you align it to the mesh, and then you click the point. It's accurate, but I like the freedom of the view-based. So it's faster. You can just look and draw. No, I don't know. Some people prefer the grid system. Good up. Maybe in the future, if I'm speaking of the complete rehaul, that's going to be a lot of work. Probably the biggest code, uh, the biggest operator in terms of code is this one here, and also the extract. Yeah, the draw faces and the extract faces. Draw cuts is just draw faces in edit mode, and it is a really big code. Let's create a circle right here. Number 3. So this workflow is all about, you know, just the concept art. Using this mesh for concept art, so we're not gonna bother too much with topology. If you're starting out and you're always reading about quads, how important quad is, you might want to check out the site that you're in, because you might be reading sites that specialize in organic modeling. And in organics, all quads is important because, of course, animation. But if you're into hard surface, there's a lot of discipline. There's hard surface for movies, hard surface for games, hard surface for just concept arts, uh, or yeah. So based on those categories, the topology used will not be the same. So this is hard surface. So ingons is mostly okay. This is not gonna bend or smile. So you don't need to really use all quads. You can even just, after you manage to use all the quads for modeling. Just limit dissolve and then Control T, and then yeah, use this for your game. Okay, auto smooth. Auto smooth. Oops, probably this one. There we go. I feel we need some layers here. So oops. The Actually we don't need to bevel. Select this faces here. Just a I don't know if you I don't know if you can use it to climb that. Can you use it? No. Probably need something more accurate. Wait up. Let me show you like how I do this so you can also learn how I model. Or how to model this type of geometry to improve your problem solving. Oh wait. How to grade the stairs. Control E and bevel. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I guess we can do that. Inset and then Control E. Bridge. I mean, not yet. Control E. I to inset. Then F9. Copy this thickness. Control C by hovering the mouse over the property value. Control C. And then we're going to press Control E and bridge edge loop. And then use the same operation here. Bring the redo panel by pressing F9 after the inset. Just click to confirm the inset. F9 and then Control V here to paste the values that we copied earlier. And then bridge edge loop. And then just repeat. Oops. V. Oops. There we go. Our uh stairs representation of it. I'm reducing the count. Bridge, bridge. There we go. Okay, so we can render this at this distance and still um make this these details are still kind of going to be obvious. Going to make this sharp. Control E, mark sharp. Auto smooth and set this to 15. Okay, this one right here, just in case we need to see the underside. Boundary loop. Okay, the rest of the detail we can, of course, add in using texture. Okay. How about this one? We can randomize it. Bubble. We're not using a subdivision. Randomize the panel cut using the panel seed. We can introduce no. Okay, that looks good. And then create some kind of detail here. Boundary loop. You go. The top one, got symmetry. Okay, and let's see how this looks. Boundary loop and panel cut. Okay, I'm ready to apply the shader. I'm going to add a random vertex color to this. So this is Unimesh and a destructive process using the random operators. Okay. Uh, Random vertex color. Going to use black and white, sharp, and mark sharp. Okay. That. If I want these colors to look the same, I'm just going to use Creative Flow, vertex color, pick, and it will set the vertex color on the selected faces. Pick here, Shift G area, doesn't work. Shift G perimeter, yeah, doesn't work also. Shift G normal or coplanar, there we go. And deselect this, and Control Shift X set. Oh no, Control Shift X pick or set like that. Going to change it also here. Set. So I can use the vertex color and the shader to act as a basic color scheme for me to add uh the grunge effects. Okay, set, just like that. So we can get rid of the clear mark sharp edges. And we can also limit the softness. So from 8K tries to 4K. Okay. This actually looks legit. Like it looks like um it doesn't look like totally random stairs. Select loop in a region, vertex color set. So it looks functional for something that's been produced out of a randomizer. Of course, we put in some manual details, but you know the basic shape, the main shape, if you watch it closely, really looks like really looks good or believable or functional, like it's some kind of armored truck. Okay, I'm going to append the material from my previous projects and use it for this one here. And it's going to be from what project? Okay, this one. I'm going to set the HDRI, something like this, and set it for this Shift G and T or type materials, assign material, and let's look at the result. Okay, we need to actually to smart UV this. So I'll do another video for the UVing this confusing topology. So it's pretty easy once you know the process. So smart UV project, and all we need to do is fix the size of the textures. Okay, let's do the same thing for the wheels. Okay, let's try and unwrap this the normal way. Mark seam and unwrap. Okay, we don't need this kind of detail in the wheels. So selecting the wheels, let's pick the faces based on the vertex color. There you go. Select the face with that certain kind of vertex color, then select. And in the materials, I'm going to just set an ordinary material to this. Assign vertex color material, but don't choose vertex color. Just a basic material. We can set the color to black to represent the wheel. There you go. Now, selecting the face that which has the other material. Let's reduce the texture, the texture size. Let's try one. So this texture has been developed using. I also use J's placement for this kind of detail, or I use uh texture. Sorry about that. Uh, I also use textures from generated using J's placement, or textures that have been generated using the bake technique in random flow. So basically, a simple plane, you use random flow on it, and then bake that result as a texture map, then use it for the mesh as a texture. There's a video on that. Just search the my videos or the playlist. Um, so this one here, this is not JS placement. This is actually a baked result from random flow detail. Okay, uh, we can try it. Okay, we can try it with this size. Let's go to UV, pressing U here, and Since we use Smart UV Project to create the islands, we're going to go to UV and seams from islands. And going to edge. Oops. Where's the seams? Okay, select everything. Seams from islands. There we go. Now we can select this by pressing L, and we know where it is in the UV map. So the L hotkey selects the faces, and the selection is tapped when it hits an edge that is where the seam is marked. So that's why you can use it for like this. And also, uh, you can you can use it if you click this UV sync selection, and without nothing selected here, you can select. You can use the L hotkey here. Go to face mode and press L on any island, and you can see where it is. And also here in the edit mode, you can press L, and it will show you what part it is. And then we can use it to actually uh, transform the UV island so we can fix how the texture looks on it. There you go. You can scale it, rotate it, and then whatever, just to change the way the texture projects on that face. Okay, let's um, deal with this one. So I'm going to just change the way it is UV'd, like by selecting these faces, and then you um project from view, and then rotate individual origins so they don't rotate on the same pivot line. Anyway, they should be melded. I don't know why they are like that. So if they are rotated individually, how to say, they should be melded. Okay, UV seems from islands. No. Okay, let's wait. Reset. Clear seam. There you go. And UV project from view. Let's put them all in the same spot. Oh, by the way, you don't have to follow. You don't have to follow what I'm doing here. You know, I'm just seeing if I could use the texture to uh detail this part here. But you can use the same process I did for the tiles and give it a basic shader and just detail this part manually or model this part manually for the detail instead of using the textures. Okay, so if you're new, so you don't have to follow me for that part. I'm just seeing if I can. I'm just seeing if I can actually use the mark seam. Use the texture to detail that part. Mark seam, mark seam, and selecting this. Control plus to increase the selection. Then U and N text tools in the U layout iron faces. Oops. Rectify. There you go. Okay, let's try and give this a ground. Transparent. Cursor to the world origin. Plane. And new. Let's create another copy of this. Cursor to world origin and create an empty. Selecting the meshes. Parent to the empty and then duplicate this. And we can rotate the empty and rotate the entire parented objects to it. Alt H and relocate the ground. Then we can play around with the lighting. Now let's try out the render distances to see what we got. So this would be considered far away. And what we're trying to achieve with the shape or with the idea of the design are still appreciated at this distance. Now let's set it to mid-range, a bit closer. I think this is the most optimal distance for what we're trying to achieve with the design. And that is, of course, having to develop the design using randomization to be quick with the process, since we're only using this as uh, background objects for renders. They're not necessarily the main focus of the render, but at that moment, you just needed some a new sci-fi track you can use for your renders, which are not part of your other collections. This is mid range, and let's try for closer. So it's still usable for close range, but you need to make an extra work with the texture and the geometry to make it more plausible with the closer the distance gets. Okay, but the most optimal I think is the for mid range, so like that. So for example, you have your main focus here, which is your character and all the other designs you got. You got your sci-fi trucks here and your other stuff here like that. So render, and you got your sci-fi trucks here. So there you go. I think it's really believable. You know, like um they won't even know you used our flow or random flow or panel cutter. So that's the idea behind this. Okay. You show it to your audience and they won't say random flow. They're just gonna say model this. Yeah, I think that's good. Really good. Let's try this distance. Not distance. Let's try this view. Really cool. We can also add, let's try and add cables. Yes, this one here. Let's delete this. Random cables. Catenary. Do not use mirror. Reduce limited. Reduce the size. I mean the thickness of the cables. And then the slack. There you go. And let's add cable amount. So I don't have cables that crawl on the ground yet, but maybe in the future if I brainstorm how to do it. So there you go, just a hint of the wire or the cables hanging on this part here. Or maybe we can add another design box for something like that. Rotation scale and auto mirror on the X, Y, and Z axis. And I'm going to just use plate insets, so it's faster. Increase the value. Okay, we have our box and smart UV project. Use the same. I'm going to use the same shader. Materials, assign materials. Okay. Oh, we don't have the um vertex color yet. So random vertex color. Make sure it's black and white. You can use color if you want. Sharp and then mark sharp. Play around with the randomization. See the value of the color and render. So we have our sci-fi boxes. There you go. Yeah, I think that's good. So, for the questions about presets for the operators, presets like random starship presets. So presets works well with random starship because uh, the design is it's not based on the phase selection topology, but with random flow. So for example, if I have a preset that's okay. If I have a presets that wait, so this is the key. So for example, this is the topology I've selected, and I'm going to use random panels. Yes, set. So I name it. So it looks good, right? On this. So this is the kind of like the preset. I named this preset uh like Sci-Fi 01. And so I have confirmed the operation. The properties now reflect this this setup here. So if I use this again, 1, 2, 3, 4, there you go. I come up with the same result using the same subdivision. So it looks good on this topology. Okay, but if I use the same the same setup and the same subdivision on this object here, Sci-Fi 01. Okay, it doesn't actually, it still looks good. So for something like this, so it doesn't look too detailed like this one here. Okay, so that's why I'm avoiding using presets for the operators, because the result is based on your selection and the resolution of your selection. But things might still change in the future. My mind may still change and include something in there. So yeah, so that's the main reason why I'm still avoiding it at this time. So our sci-fi container actually looks really good, or good. Okay, so that's it for this video, and yeah, I'll do a more focused video on the UV later on. But for the panel cut bevel, for those of you who purchased the panel cutter add-on, the updates will come soon. Okay, and also for random flow, uh the bevel type will also come soon. So this will be very different with how you can use the panel cuts bevel type. This is purely focused on randomization, the randomized result, and this is purely focused on the selected edges. Okay, so yeah. Um, if you have any questions, make sure to use the comment section or the links in the description. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.